Hi, I'm Audrey Williams, your techie-feely voiceover artist. If you've been watching this series for a while, you know that I like weather and space. But have you ever thought about weather in space? Like, what's the weather like on Mars? Today, we're going to find out. I'm glad you're here. We've been studying Mars for a long time. NASA's Mariner 4 flew by the planet in 1965 and took the first close-up photographs of another planet. Mariner 9 was the first spacecraft to orbit another planet, as it mapped 85% of the surface back in the early 70s. And remember Pathfinder, the first robotic rover sent to a planet? Good old Pathfinder kept sending back data long after its designated lifespan. There's been other successes and failures with spacecraft sent out for Martian exploration. And the Perseverance, a Mars rover, is still rolling around, finding all kinds of interesting things, like this strange rock named St. Paul's Bay that was discovered just a few weeks ago. But one of the main goals for exploring Mars has been to understand its climate. To help do this, NASA's Curiosity Mars rover and InSight Mars lander have their own weather stations. Combined with equipment that's on Perseverance, we have the first meteorological network on another planet. Here's some of what we've learned so far. The weather on Mars is kind of like ours here on Earth. It has seasons, clouds, and wind. Occasionally, winds on Mars are strong enough to create huge dust storms that can cover much of the planet. After some of these storms, it can be months before it all settles back down. Mars has a very thin atmosphere made up mostly of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and argon gases. To our eyes, the sky would be hazy and red because of suspended dust instead of the familiar blue that we see here on Earth. And that lack of an atmosphere, or that thin atmosphere, means there isn't much protection from impacts from meteorites, asteroids, and comets. It also means that the temperature fluctuates a lot. The average temperature on Mars is about negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit, but the temperature can be as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit to as low as about negative 225 degrees Fahrenheit at the poles. And because the atmosphere is so thin, heat from the sun easily dissipates or escapes. So if you were to stand on the surface of Mars, on the equator, at noon, it would feel like spring at your feet and winter at your head. There are a lot more fascinating things about the Martian climate, like the repeating northern annular cloud that shows up every year at about the same time and then goes away. We'll have to talk about that in another episode. But until then, keep looking up, look for Mars, and remember, the sky is not the limit. I'll see you next time.